Okay, what is up? I'm going to do another one of these research challenges, and this time it's going to be something film related. That's all I know, though. I'm just going to tell Bing AI to generate a list of topics for me to research that could be interesting, that are film related, and I'll choose whichever one sounds like I don't know, I could generate the most content out of. So let's see. So I asked Bing AI, I am doing a research challenge, giving myself 20 minutes to research an arbitrary topic. Can you give me a list of interesting film-related topics for this challenge? And this is what Bing AI said. A few possible topics. The first one, the evolution of female protagonists in action films. Second one, the impact of global cinema on Hollywood. Analyzing the auteur theory in modern cinema. I have no idea what that is. Actually, let me look that up quickly. Let's see. Let's find that out. Auteur theory. The director who oversees all audio and visual elements of the motion picture is more to be considered the author of the movie than is the writer of the screenplay. Oof. I don't know. This seems like something I'm so unfamiliar with that like it might go horribly wrong. But I don't know. It could be interesting though. It could be interesting. What else do we have? The role of soundtracks in defining movie genres. Ooh, that is interesting. Even if I don't do that right now, that could be a topic for the future. We also have virtual reality in cinema, a new frontier or a passing trend. Okay, we have VR, the representation of AI in science fiction movies. We also have cultural stereotypes, their perpetuation, psychological effects of horror films, exploring the cinematic portrayals of historical events, and color theory in film, how palette choices affect emotion. Okay, that seems like it could be easier to get into, but potentially complex. And I think that's the kind of topic that I might want to do for something like this. So what I'll do is I'll generate 10 more topics, and then I'll decide after looking at those. Because for now, I am going to shortlist this 10th topic over here, color theory in film. If I don't get anything better, I'll go with that. But let's see. Can you generate 10 more topics? Let's see. Okay, the influence of film noir on... Okay, that is so complicated. The economics of film distribution and streaming platforms. Ooh, this is interesting. This is potentially interesting, but I feel like I might just fail so badly because if I don't get the right sources, it might take way too long to get information on that. But I don't know. I'll keep this in mind. Gender representation in animated films. Seems boring. The role of costume design in historical epics. I don't know. That also seems kind of boring. Cinematic adaptations of literary classics. The art of film editing, techniques and innovations. Okay, now this... I'm sure I could do one on this. Examine the creative choices made by film editors and their impact on storytelling. Ooh, yeah. This could be interesting. Honestly, this might be the top one for now. Let's see. The cultural significance of film festivals, the impact of digital effects on cinematic realism, documentary filmmaking as advocacy, and the representation of mental health in cinema. These all are just way too massive, these topics. So, you know what? I think I'll do this. The art of film editing, techniques and innovations. This is going to be a bit more of a challenge than normal, but it has a potential to be really interesting. So let me just write down this topic over here. Okay, well, now we have our topic. And my timer's already set up, so we can kind of just get ready to start this. I'll close this tab. Okay, I'm ready to go. I'll give myself 3 seconds, and then I'll start the countdown. Okay, 3, 2, 1, let's start. Okay. Techniques and innovations in film editing. That's our topic today. What I'm going to do, as always, to start is to try to plan this out, structure this. As usual, it's probably best to have some kind of a history section. So I'm going to say history of film editing is one of these sections. I don't know if that's too broad, but we'll find out as we research this. History of film editing. After that, also going to do... Okay, if we're talking about techniques and innovations, maybe we want to talk about contemporary techniques. Maybe something like that. This is like really, really broad for now, but maybe this has to be the starting point because I just don't know that much about techniques or film editing in general. So I think I just have to take a shot in the dark here. History of film editing. Let's put down like, I don't even know what the questions are to ask right now. You know what? I'm just going to go for it. This is like the least planning I've done ever before starting the actual research part, but I just have to do this. So let's just look up history of film editing. Let's start. Okay, interesting. So we obviously have an AI response. Brief history of film editing. What is this article over here from Media Equipped? We could look at that, but obviously look at the film editing Wikipedia page. Don't think we're gonna have time to watch an entire video, so I'm gonna skip that. This could be interesting. Well, I'll just go through these three articles first. I'll start with the Wikipedia because it probably has a lot of general information. I'm just looking at this through the lens of we're talking about the history of film editing for now. So let's go to the history section specifically. Okay, what it says is early films were short films, one long static and lockdown shot. Motion of the shot was all that was necessary to amuse an audience. Right. Okay, yeah. The use of film editing to establish continuity. Yeah. Wait, is attributed to British film? Okay, this film was like the first time somebody did film editing, I guess. Pioneered by Robert W. Paul with Come Along Do in 1898. And I'm going to say before this, early films were short, static, continuous shots. Unedited and continuous shots, right. Okay, and so now we know when film editing started. What exactly did it look like at this time, though? It says involving action moving from one sequence to another. So that's specifically what the editing in Come Along Do was. It was like very basic, probably one scene cut, move to another scene. So, okay, what else do we have? It says in the first shot, an elderly couple is outside an art exhibition. Okay, yeah, don't have to go through that too much. Just trying to see. This is like obviously way too much information because it's a whole Wikipedia article. I'm just trying to see if there's anything useful, anything big that I can get from this. Film editing technology. Obviously, this is going to be a big part. I'm guessing back here in 1898, they edited film physically, like they stitched different film together that was shot at different times, right? Okay. Yeah, this is going to be too time consuming if I read all of this, so I'm going to move to a different article. Foundations of film editing, right. Let's see. It says the first moving image device that came to be known to us is the kinetograph in 1890. Okay, so I'm going to write that down before Robert W. Paul down. I'm going to say in 1890, the kinetograph was introduced. What is a kinetograph? Let's see. A kinetograph on Britannica, Encyclopedia Britannica. Camera used to take a series of photographs of people or objects in motion. First motion picture camera. Oh, okay. I see. So before the kinetograph, if I understand correctly, people had to take individual and like rapid photographs, maybe with a single, like taking single shots each time. And a kinetograph managed to kind of automate it so it would take multiple photographs per second and stitch them together into a movie. I'm trying to see if there's any specification on this. Probably not. Kinetograph was introduced. Okay, first movie camera, I guess. Let's see what else we can find. I'm gonna kind of skip a little bit ahead so I don't spend too much time here. What's this Kuleshov effect? Is a film editing technique. Fascinating power of film editing. How can emotionally? Okay. It's a mental phenomenon by which viewers derive more meaning from the interaction of two sequential shots than from a single shot in isolation. Okay, yeah. So an example, a shot of an older man smiling. Oh, and then it shows, and then it cuts to like a puppy or something like that to show what the older man's smiling at. Interesting. Right. Okay, yeah, this is pretty interesting. We could talk about this. Kuleshov effect. This is going to be, when was this? This is like, oh, it didn't really say. We're going to say early 20th century, though, because it's after the previous one, 1903, and before 1927. So early 20th century. And this is about conveying more complex emotion by stitching specific scenes together, shots together. Okay, what is the next one? Here comes the sound. Oh, right. Sound was introduced. Yeah, that makes sense. I forgot that we didn't have sound in films early on. Okay, and it says in 1927, it was the first film with fully synchronized dialogue. Very interesting. But music and sound effects were like attempted to be used earlier than that as well. Okay, interesting. So I'll say sound or synchronized sound, I'll say. In 1927, what movie was this? The Jazz Singer. The Jazz Singer. Okay. And then technological advancements. Ampex VTR, what is this? The first videotape recorder open to the public. It served as a replacement for motion picture film stock. Made the recording of footage cheaper, safer, and easier. Oh, okay, so this is the first time an editor could actually rewind film. Consequently, this is only groundbreaking new technologies. Ooh, okay, so technological advancement. Ampex VTR. This is videotape recorder. What this did is it allowed for easy rewinding of tape, allowing editors to experiment more. And then we have CMX systems. What are these? Non-linear editing. Oh, interesting. Okay, so basically what the Ampex VTR... Okay, I'll explain this while I'm speaking, but the CMX systems when was this? In the 1970s? Basically made it so that you could do non-linear editing. Yeah, okay. And then I'll expand on that when I speak, but I think I understand it. Then we have the Harry and Avid, was the first all-digital video editing and effect composition system. Oh, okay, so that's big. The Harry 1985 all-digital video editing. And then what else? Avid Technology. Oh, I should say why am I saying Avid? Avid Technology created Avid and had a revolutionary design dominating nonlinear editing systems. So it was developed for Macintosh and has been used. Wait, the interface was relatively user-friendly and powerful and built from early on. It has been used as an industry standard for the past 30 years. Okay, that's interesting. So Avid is potentially been an industry standard, 87, for a long time. Industry standard UI editing software that has been used since then. I'll say at least until recently. Well, I don't need a type tag. I can kind of remember that probably. The modern history of film editing, we have Adobe Premiere, I'm guessing. Yeah, Premiere in 1991. Allowed thousands of filmmakers. Yeah, okay, so it says what provided video editing with universal access. So that's the biggest thing. It has 10 million users, Premiere Pro specifically. Yeah, so there we are right there here. Premiere in 1991. Universal access video editor. Okay, now one more thing I want to see though is I want to know more about these techniques specifically, right? Like we have this Kuleshov effect, but when did they start using some of these other techniques? I don't even know what questions to ask here, but let's see. Oh man, I don't know if I can find this. Non-linear editing takes the stage. Yeah, I mean we kind of mentioned that, I guess. Special effects. I should probably mention special effects. But this article doesn't have dates though. This is really annoying. Why would you do this? Okay, maybe I'll just go back here, find a different article. Let me see. History of film editing techniques specifically. Maybe this. Dawn of video editing. Man, I just wish somebody would tell me about specific techniques that they would use, you know, like cutting from one thing to another or like slow motion and stuff like that. Oh man, I don't know. I don't know if I have time for this. Maybe I'll just have to skip to contemporary techniques. Maybe I'll get some of this from this part. So what I'll do is search up types of, or I don't even know what to search up. I'm so unfamiliar with this topic. I'm woefully uninformed. What I want to search up, techniques used in movie editing. This is what I wanted to see. Just like a whole list of different strats, you know? Okay, pre-editing, assembly, yeah, whatever. This is not what I was thinking. Oh, here. Types of film editing technique. Continuity editing. Okay, discontinuity editing. Okay, yeah, Kuleshov effect. Okay. So maybe I'll just write these down. Continuity editing. Discontinuity editing. Continuity editing is when you stitching together shots to make them seem like they follow one another. Yeah. That's gotta be it. I'm just gonna skim it to make sure, but intuitively this makes sense. Continuity, if there are white flowers on a table during a white shot of the scene, they don't turn red when the camera cuts too close up. Essentially, yeah. I can explain that a bit further, but reverse, I'm just gonna write reverse here because I think I understand this intuitively. Kuleshov effect, I have that up above. Cutting on action. Right. Shows an action from one angle, it cuts to another angle as that action is completed. Okay, yeah, that's interesting. We can write that down. I'm going to skip through these and write in some of these that I think are more interesting than others, maybe. Cross-cutting. Okay, yeah, cross-cutting is a thing as well, I guess. Cross-cutting. Showing things happening in parallel. Two scenes playing out in parallel. And then montage. Okay, yeah, we have... I mean, we know what montages are. I don't think I need to talk about that. Shot, reverse shot. What is this? Oh, yeah, actually, this, I do remember my editor talking about. Thank you, Kyle. Thank you. Shot, reverse shot. This is when you have two people talking. Shots, what are they called? Alternating between them. Okay. Wait, right? Yeah, it doesn't always have to be a conversation or shot. Reverse shots when you film a subject from one angle, film the same subject from the opposite angle. Yeah, yeah. That is basically it. Yeah. And then J cuts and L cuts. Yes, this I also remember him talking about. Oh my god, I'm running out of time though. Plus L cuts. So these are, yeah, when you have audio bleeding from one scene into another scene. Wait, so next scene. Yeah, okay, so a J is when next scene audio bleeds early, and then L cuts is reverse. Okay. Yeah, okay. We got through most of them. What, I don't even know what this is, but we have 1 minute left because there's something specific I want to do in the last minute. What? What is this? It does not help that we're talking about Mondo Shawans in this paragraph. Oh, okay, I see. Okay, I can kind of, I don't know if I'll go over this one, but I'll do that. Okay, just quickly, I want to research like future of film editing. I don't know if I have time for this. Let's see. I'll just skim stuff here. Let's see. Artificial intelligence, that's probably going to change stuff. I'll mention this in a few seconds in the end or something, you know? VFX and AI technology, yeah, 100%. It's going to be stuff like that. Okay, I'm going to use intuition just to fill in a few seconds there. And, yeah, okay. Time's up, so I'm not reading anything more. I'm not writing anything more. I'm just going to use whatever we've already collected. You know, it doesn't look like it's that much looking at the notepad, but I think I genuinely did learn quite a bit, and I guess we'll see when I try talking about this. But I think I'll definitely be able to talk about this for 5 minutes at the very least. I can fill up 5 minutes. So I mean, if there's one thing that I've learned at law school is how to yap, you know. But anyway, I think it's time to move to the next scene. Speaking of editing, okay. I'm ready to try talking now on film editing, what I've learned in the past 20 minutes. Let's give this a shot. I'll count down from 3 and then we'll begin. 3, 2, 1, let's go. Okay, so today I learned about the history and different techniques of film editing that have been used in the past and how they've developed into what we see in film today. So first of all, regarding the history of film editing, one important thing to know or to keep in mind, to remember, right, is that we take for granted the fact that all of our films and even like YouTube videos and privately created content is so easily edited today. But in the past, in very early cinema, films just were not edited at all. They were silent, short, static, and unedited, continuous shots back in the late 19th century when moving pictures first emerged, right? So the first semblance of editing came when we had the rise of the kinetograph in 1890, which was the first device that would actually automatically be able to take continuous, independent, single shot images and stitch them together into like a film. Whereas before that, you would have cameras that you would need to take individual shots with over and over again, and then manually stitch stuff together. So the kinetograph was a huge advancement. And then editing, as in like moving from one scene to another scene and not just having your short films be one unedited scene. The first time we saw any of that was in 1898 with Come Along Do. That was the title of the film, made by Robert W. Paul, in which he cut from scene to scene. And that's something we take for granted now, but it wasn't back then. Now, something that arose in the early 20th century was a technique called the Kuleshov effect, which is really common now. It's when you do stitch two different shots together, but the types of shots you stitch together develops or conveys a much more complex emotion than either of those shots independently. So, for example, you could have a shot of an old man smiling, and then you could have a shot of a puppy, and then stitching these together, you show that the old man is like a kind person. But you could also have a shot of an old man smiling, and then stitch that together with, I don't know, like war or like brutality, and then you convey that this man is actually sadistic, right? So the Kuleshov effect is something that we see now very frequently, and we take it for granted. But again, this was something that only emerged about 100 years ago. And then quickly kind of fast forwarding through the next few decades, we had synchronized sound for the first time in 1927. That was huge, obviously, because sound was not even really a thing just a couple decades before that, in film, I mean, not in real life. Technological advancement then led to the Ampex VTR, which is a videotape recorder, allowing editors to actually be able to rewind their films mid-editing instead of having to, manually, I guess, like, cut up film, or however they used to do it before that. The VTR actually allowed them to rewind film automatically. Then after that, you had CMX systems, which started allowing for nonlinear editing. So although the Ampex VTR was important because it allowed you to rewind film, it still needed you to kind of like manually like go backwards through the tape that you've already watched or that you've already played, right? The CMX system allowed you to kind of single out frames and then immediately jump from one frame at one part of a film to one frame that you've identified earlier or that comes later on, and you don't have to actually scrub through the entire footage to get there. Then after that, you have the Harry in 1985, which is the first all-digital video editing device. And soon after that, you had Avid, which was actually an industry standard UI editing, film editing software for the past 30 years. Then you obviously had Premiere, Adobe Premiere, which has made video editing like almost universally accessible. And in terms of like some of the techniques that we see in films today, we have stuff like continuity editing, where you stitch together shots to make them seem like they're taking place one after the other. You have discontinuity editing, which is the exact opposite. You have cutting on action, which is you show action happening from different angles and kind of like simultaneously. You have things like J cuts and L cuts, which allow you to bring audio from the next scene back into a previous scene or from a current scene into the next scene, just to make things seem more natural. Okay, I have to end it there, but I kind of had to rush again at the end. I don't know how I can improve on that, but surely at some point it'll get better, right? Surely. But overall, though, I don't think it was that bad. I did spend most of my research time on the history part anyway, so I'm glad that I managed to get through like pretty much all of that. And the contemporary techniques part was just, I guess, like tacked on at the end. I guess I didn't go over the future of video editing part, which I would have wanted to, if I could have. So yeah, overall, not perfect, but it wasn't terrible either. I guess that's just the theme of this whole channel at this point, There's always room for improvement, I guess. Well, anyway, that's it, I guess. I don't have anything else. So, double salute.